He makes me feel like a woman. You don't, she said, dumping me for a 6 feet 4 inches guy. So I let her have him. Now she's shrunken by his control while I'm standing taller than ever. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. Looking back, I should have seen it coming. But when you're in love with someone, you make excuses for things that should be red flags. You tell yourself they're just going through a phase, or they're stressed about work, or it's not really about you. The truth is, it was about me. Specifically, it was about my height. All 5 feet 8 inches of it. Brittany and I had been together for 2.5 years. We met at a work conference, hit it off immediately, and things just clicked. She was smart, funny, ambitious, everything I was looking for. I'm not going to lie and say height never came up, but it was never an issue. If anything, she used to joke about how perfect we were together because she could wear heels and still fit under my arm perfectly. That all changed when she joined CrossFit. I remember the exact moment things shifted. We were having dinner with some of her new gym friends about 6 months ago. The conversation turned to Jessica, one of the women at the table, and her new boyfriend. Oh my God, did you see how tall Jessica's new boyfriend is? One of them gushed. He's like a tree. I know, right? Another chimed in. I love feeling tiny next to a guy. Brittany glanced at me, and I saw something in her eyes I'd never seen before. Not quite disappointment, but consideration. Yeah, she said slowly. It must be nice. I tried to laugh it off. Good thing I make up for it with my sparkling personality. The table went quiet for a second. Brittany didn't laugh. Right? She said, but her tone was flat. After that night, I started noticing things. Little comments here and there. When we watched movies, she'd point out how the male lead towered over the actress and how protective it looked. At weddings, she'd comment on how nice the couples looked when there was a significant height difference. When she bought new heels, she'd put them on and stand next to me with this disappointed expression. These make me almost as tall as you, she said once, and the way she said it made it clear that wasn't a good thing. But the real change started when she met Chad. Chad was a personal trainer at her CrossFit gym. 6 feet 4 inches, built like he lived in the weight room, and according to Brittany, so knowledgeable about fitness. She started mentioning him more and more. Chad helped me with my deadlifts today, she'd say after coming home from the gym. He's so knowledgeable. Cool, I'd respond. How was the workout? Good. He's just, I don't know, commanding, you know? Like when he walks into a room, people notice. Because he's a trainer? No, it's more than that. He has this presence. This masculine energy. I should have called her out right there. But instead, I just said, okay. Don't take it personally, she added, which is something people only say when you absolutely should take it personally. Not every guy can have that. The comparisons got worse. Everything became about what Chad would do, what Chad had said, how Chad approached things. When I tried to plan a weekend hiking trip for us, she immediately brought up some trail Chad had mentioned that was really challenging. Chad says most guys don't push themselves physically, she said. They stick to the easy stuff. I'm not most guys, I replied. I know, babe. You're just different than him. Different how? You know? He's more outdoorsy, athletic, rugged. I suggested the hike. It's not the same thing, Mike. I started to feel like I was shrinking. Not physically. I'm the same height I've always been, but in her eyes, I was getting smaller every day. Every time she mentioned Chad's presence or his natural authority, I felt a little less confident, a little less sure of myself. The end came on a Tuesday night in March. She'd been distant for weeks, coming home late from the gym, texting constantly, barely making eye contact during dinner. I knew we needed to talk, but I kept putting it off, hoping things would somehow get better on their own. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. We need to talk about what's going on, I said. She was sitting on our couch, still in her workout clothes, scrolling through her phone. She didn't look up. I've been thinking a lot lately, she said. About us. About what I need. What I deserve. The way she said it made my stomach drop. Which is, she finally put down her phone and looked at me. Mike, you're a good guy. You really are. But I need to feel protected. Feminine. Like a woman. You don't feel like a woman with me. Not the way I should. When I'm with Chad. The name hit me like a slap. When I'm around him, I feel small. Delicate. Like he could just handle anything. I stared at her. So this is about my height. It's about more than that. It's about presence, authority, natural dominance. Natural dominance, I repeated. You wouldn't understand. Look, I can't help what I'm attracted to. How long have you been seeing him? We're not. It's not like that. But Mike, I finally feel feminine and protected around someone. I can't go back to feeling like you're equal all the time. You're equal. Right. You know what I mean. I didn't know what she meant. And that's what hurt the most. I could have fought for her. I could have argued that height doesn't matter, that I'd always been there for her, that 2.5 years should count for something. I could have pointed out that she was 5 feet 6 inches and I was 5 feet 8 inches, which meant she was hardly towered over by anyone. I could have reminded her of all the times I'd handled things, fixed her car, dealt with her difficult landlord, supported her through her mother's cancer scare. Instead, I just said, then you should be with him. She looked surprised. Just like that. Just like that. I'll get my stuff this weekend. Mike, wait, you've made your choice. I respect it. And I did. Not because I agreed with it, but because I realized that trying to convince someone to want you is the most unattractive thing you can do. She wanted someone who made her feel small and protected? Fine. I wasn't going to shrink myself to make her feel better about her decision. I moved out that weekend. She tried to start a conversation about staying friends and not letting this ruin what we had, but I kept it simple. I took my stuff, left my key on the counter, and walked away. The next few weeks were rough. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. You don't get over 2.5 years overnight, especially when the person you loved basically told you that who you are fundamentally isn't enough. I found myself slouching more, avoiding eye contact with tall guys, second-guessing every interaction. But after about a month of feeling sorry for myself, I got angry. Not at Brittany. She was allowed to want what she wanted. I got angry at myself for letting her insecurity become mine. I was the same person I'd always been. I'd built a successful career in sales, had good friends, stayed in shape, treated her well. None of that had changed because she met some tall guy at the gym. So I decided to focus on the things I could control. I threw myself into work and got the promotion I'd been putting off pursuing. I started playing basketball again with my college friends. I bought the motorcycle I'd always wanted but had avoided because Brittany thought they were dangerous. I took that challenging hiking trip I'd originally planned for us, but went solo instead. It was exactly as beautiful as I'd thought it would be. I also started dating again, but casually. No pressure, no trying to prove anything. Just meeting people and seeing what happened. It was refreshing to be around women who didn't see my height as a problem that needed to be overcome. Through mutual friends, I heard updates about Brittany and Chad. At first, the reports were glowing. She was constantly posting about her real man and how good it felt to be with someone who could actually protect her. There were gym selfies with Chad looming behind her, his hands on her shoulders like he was claiming territory. But after about 2 months, the tone started to change. Brittany seems stressed lately. Our mutual friend Sarah mentioned when we ran into each other at a coffee shop. Chad's pretty intense. Intense how? Just really controlling. Like, he doesn't want her going out with us anymore because we're bad influences. And he criticizes everything, her job, her clothes, how much she eats. Apparently, he told her she was getting soft and needed to work out more. I didn't say anything, but I wasn't surprised. Guys who lead with their physical dominance usually don't have much else to offer. A few weeks later, I got a text from Brittany. Hey, how are you doing? I stared at it for a while before responding. Good. You. Things are complicated. Can we talk? About what? I think I made a mistake. We all make choices. Mike, I'm serious. Chad isn't. He's not what I thought. Sorry to hear that. That's it. You don't want to know what happened? Not really. I thought you cared about me. I did. Past tense. She stopped texting after that, but I heard more through the grapevine. Apparently, Chad's natural dominance extended to throwing tantrums when things didn't go his way, getting jealous of her male coworkers, and forbidding her from doing things he deemed inappropriate for his girlfriend. His protection had turned into suffocation. The irony wasn't lost on me. She'd wanted someone who made her feel small, and she'd gotten exactly that. Meanwhile, I was feeling pretty good about my life. The promotion came through, and I was making significantly more money. I'd started dating someone new, Emma, a lawyer I met through friends. She was confident, successful, and never once made me feel like I needed to be taller to be worthy of her attention. I love that I can look you in the eye when I wear heels, she said on our third date. It's like we're actually partners. The contrast was striking. I heard through Sarah that Brittany had broken up with Chad after he threw her phone against the wall during an argument about her spending too much time at work. Apparently, she'd been reaching out to old friends, trying to rebuild the relationships Chad had made her abandon. Then, about 8 months after our breakup, I saw her again. It was at our mutual friend Dave's birthday party. Emma and I had been dating for 3 months, and things were getting serious. She was everything I'd forgotten I wanted in a partner: supportive, independent, secure in herself. We were at the bar getting drinks when I felt someone tap my shoulder. Mike. I turned around and saw Brittany. She looked smaller somehow. Not physically, but there was something diminished about her. The confidence she'd always carried was gone. Brittany. Hi. Can we talk privately? I glanced at Emma, who was chatting with Dave's girlfriend. I'm good here, thanks. Please. Just 5 minutes. Emma caught my eye and smiled. I'll be right back, I told her, then turned to Brittany. What's up? You look really good. Thanks. Is that your girlfriend? Yeah. She seems nice. She is. Brittany took a breath. Mike, I was wrong. About everything. Chad. He's not the man I thought he was. Okay. He's actually really insecure. And mean. And controlling. That sucks. I left him last week. I kept thinking about us. About how good we were together. We were good. For a while. We could be again. I know what real masculine energy looks like now. Do you? It's not about height. It's about confidence. Stability. Being secure in yourself. Right. You always had that. I was just too stupid to see it. I looked back toward the bar, where Emma was now talking to some other friends, laughing at something someone had said. She belonged there, comfortable and happy, not because she was trying to prove anything, but because she was genuinely enjoying herself. Brittany, I need to get back to my date. Mike, wait. She grabbed my arm. Don't you miss what we had? I looked at her hand on my arm, then back at Emma. No, I really don't. But I understand now. I made a terrible mistake. You made a choice. And I made mine. I walked back to Emma, who was now holding 2 drinks. Everything okay? She asked, handing me my beer. I kissed her forehead. Perfect. As we rejoined our friends, I caught Brittany watching us from across the room. For a moment, I felt a flicker of something, not regret, exactly, but recognition of what might have been. Then Emma said something that made me laugh, and the feeling passed. Later that night, as Emma and I walked back to my apartment, she asked about the conversation. Ex-girlfriend, I explained. She wanted to talk about getting back together. How'd that go? Sure conversation. Emma squeezed my hand. Good. I like having you all to myself. I squeezed back. You've got me. And the crazy thing was, I meant it. Not because I was settling or because she was the best I could do, but because she was exactly what I wanted. Someone who saw me as I was. All 5 feet 8 inches of me. And didn't need me to be anything else. A few days later, Sarah texted me. Saw Brittany at the grocery store. She asked about you. What did you tell her? That you seemed really happy. She didn't take it well. I didn't respond. There wasn't anything to say. The thing about confidence is that it's not about being the biggest guy in the room. It's about knowing who you are and not apologizing for it. Brittany had wanted someone who made her feel small, and in doing so, she'd made herself smaller. She'd traded a partner for a protector, and when the protector turned out to be a prison guard, she'd found herself trapped. Meanwhile, I'd learned that the right person doesn't need you to be taller or shorter, louder or quieter, more or less of anything. They just need you to be you. Emma never made me feel like I needed to prove my masculinity. She never compared me to other guys or suggested I was lacking in any way. When we disagreed, we talked it out. When she had problems, she came to me for support, not protection from her own agency. When she succeeded at work, she celebrated with me, not despite me. That's what partnership actually looks like. 6 months later, Emma and I moved in together. A year after that, I proposed. She said yes immediately, and when I slipped the ring on her finger, she kissed me and said, I can't wait to marry my equal. I'd never heard more beautiful words. These days, I don't think about my height much. I don't think about Chad or what Brittany's doing. I heard through the grapevine that she's dating someone new, another tall guy, apparently, but it doesn't matter to me anymore. She's living her life, and I'm living mine. The difference is, I'm living mine with someone who chose me for who I am, not despite who I am. Someone who doesn't need me to be taller or shorter, just present. Someone who makes me feel like the best version of myself, not a compromised version of someone else. And that, I've learned, is what real masculine energy actually looks like. It's not about towering over someone or making them feel small. It's about standing tall in your own skin and finding someone who wants to stand beside you, not beneath you. Brittany was right about one thing. She did deserve to feel feminine and protected, but she was wrong about what that meant. It's not about finding someone whose physical presence makes you feel tiny. It's about finding someone whose emotional presence makes you feel safe to be exactly who you are. I hope she figures that out someday. But that's not my problem anymore. These days, my problem is much simpler. Figuring out where Emma and I want to go on our honeymoon. She's pushing for Italy. I'm leaning toward New Zealand. We'll work it out. We always do. That's what equals do. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.